Good night. Sweet dreams. That's what my dad would say to me. But sometimes I had trouble falling asleep. Then he would tell me stories about his travels. I want this tradition to live on. So now, let me share my stories with you. I blink, my eyes still cloudy, into the morning sun. For a moment, I'm not sure where I am. I only feel the sunlight touching my face, warm and angled, slipping through a large window beside the bed. My eyes open slowly, heavy with sleep, and beyond the glass I see a pasture washed in pale gold. Horses are grazing there, heads lowered into the grass, tails moving now and then with the patient rhythm of animals who belong to the morning. For a few seconds I remain somewhere between waking and dreaming. Then memory returns. The long road from northwestern Guatemala, crossing into southern Mexico, the slow winding journey through Chiapas, the feeling of arriving late at night, tired in every way, and being welcomed with soft voices, a warm bed, and the promise that tomorrow there would be a ride. I more or less collapsed straight into bed after confirming the welcome ride with old friends of my father, Manolo and Natalia. When I tentatively step into the family's living room, the first thing that greets me is the smell of coffee. Fresh, dark, familiar coffee, drifting through the house like a friendly hand on my shoulder. Beneath it is the warmer smell of homemade bread placed on the table by Natalia, who smiles at me and says, "Buenos dias." The table looks almost too beautiful to disturb. There are small ceramic bowls in different shapes and patterns, each one imperfect in the loveliest way, as if it still remembers the hands that made it. Inside are little offerings from the garden. Halved avocados, green and soft, small tomatoes, red and yellow, fresh herbs standing in a glass of water, black beans, scrambled eggs, a stack of warm corn tortillas, which Natalia says are indispensable here in Chiapas. "Cafecito?" she asks. "Sí, por favor." She pours the coffee into a cup and sets it before me. Steam rises slowly. I wrap both hands around it and look out through the large glass window in front of the room. The dogs are already playing in the yard. Chickens move in loose, busy circles. The horses continue grazing, completely unconcerned with the small ceremonies of breakfast. Usually, I like my mornings quiet. But here, the company does not feel like noise. It feels like being gently folded into the life of the place. Manolo and Natalia speak easily, warmly, never asking too much of me before I have fully arrived. The house has that rare kind of welcome, where you are not treated like a guest exactly, but like someone who has simply been away for a long time. After breakfast, Manolo and I change into riding clothes and pack our provisions into saddlebags. Then we walk across the ranch grounds, which stretch out before us in lush meadow green under the pleasantly warm late morning sun. The climate here in the highlands of Chiapas, Los Altos de Chiapas, is mild for most of the year, with cool nights and comfortable days. The seasons are felt less through temperature than through the shift between the dry season and the rainy season. And today, the weather is perfect for a long day's ride, and my anticipation flutters inside me like the butterflies people talk about when they're in love. When we reach the mare's pasture, a single click of Manolo's tongue is enough to bring the entire herd trotting toward us. It's an impressive and moving sight, the way the horses come to him completely of their own accord. There's not a trace of submission in it, let alone force. Manolo does not choose a horse for me. Instead, we stand together in the pasture, and he lets me take my time. Some horses look at me briefly and drift away. Others come close enough to breathe against my sleeve. One white mare is especially curious. She steps toward me, ears alert, dark eyes steady. She lowers her head and sniffs my boots, then the loose fabric around my legs. I stay still. Her nostrils come close to my hands, then my chest, then almost to my face. Carefully, I blow a little air toward her, and she answers with a soft, warm snort. It feels like a language older than words. Only then do I reach out and touch her neck. Her coat is soft, but beneath it I can feel strength. Quiet, living strength. Manolo approaches us with a small smile. "This is Duquesa," he says. "She had a foal and hasn't been ridden for a while. She's a wonderful mother, but she loves being out. She seems to like you. You can ride her if you feel comfortable. She may have a lot of energy." I look at Duquesa. She lowers her head slightly as if listening. For a moment I hesitate, not from fear exactly, but from respect. Then I nod. There are some decisions that do not feel like decisions. They feel like allowing trust to arrive before thought. Next to the mare's pasture is the field where Manolo's stallion Phelan stands, a beautiful brown horse whose muscles ripple beneath his gleaming coat as he trots toward us. Manolo greets him and, to my surprise, doesn't put a halter on him, but simply opens the gate. The magnificent stallion follows him on his own to the yard, where we will groom and saddle the horses. It's impressive to watch such a powerful animal follow a human so willingly. The last of my tension falls away. Anyone who can build such a strong, natural bond with their horses clearly knows what they are doing. We groom the horses in the yard. Dust rises softly from their coats. The brushes move in long strokes. Duquesa stands quietly, now and then turning her head as if to check that I'm still there. When we finally set off, the tack is minimal, just enough. with a sheepskin pad between me and the horse. Her walk is gentle. At first, I feel my body remembering how to ride. My hips soften, my shoulders settle. My hands become lighter. The movement beneath me is a slow rocking back and forth like being carried by a tide. We pass the house where we just had breakfast. From the saddle, it looks even more dreamlike. The modest wooden home sits among wildflowers and vegetable beds with lemon-yellow shrubs and pale blue blossoms leaning into the borders. Behind everything, the moss-green hills rise in soft folds like the background of an old painting. The path narrows past the house and then meets the gravel road, the only road leading back toward the last village. Dogs bark and rush after us, full of enthusiasm. I glance at Manolo. He laughs. Don't worry, they're ranch dogs. They come as far as they want, and then they go home. To our right, cattle graze in a vast pasture. A bull stands among them, dark and shining, with horns extending boldly from his head. Nearer to us, a small calf watches from beside the fence, its coat still fluffy, almost curly, its face full of suspicion. Manolo rides slightly ahead of me, wearing a hat against the sun, softly whistling a melody that blends with the chirping of insects, birdsong, and the rustling of a light breeze. It's the perfect soundtrack for the feeling inside me. For a while, we do not speak, but the silence does not feel empty. It feels shared. I think about how rare that is, to be with another person and not feel the need to fill every opening with words, to move side by side through a landscape and trust that togetherness is enough. Perhaps as adults we forget that silence can be a form of friendship. The gravel road becomes a narrower path. It begins to climb gently. Dry grasses sway beside us, mixed with plants I cannot name. Some have tiny flowers. Some release a sharp green scent when the horses brush past them. We begin to trot as the trees around us grow denser. Duquesa's gait is so smooth, so graceful and comfortable that I don't need to focus on riding. It feels as natural as walking. I can fully take in my surroundings. The scent is breathtaking. I would love to capture it in a bottle and wear it as a perfume. The forest here carries notes of citrus and peat, mixed with a dominant resinous scent, but also something floral. Moss and cork linger in the air. I admire the trees, now standing so close together that I lose sight of the dogs. They dart into the undergrowth and reappear as they please. Manolo doesn't even glance at them. He trusts them completely. Then, suddenly, the path widens. Duquesa lifts her head. I feel her excitement before I understand it. The muscles beneath me gather themselves. Manolo turns back with a grin. Gallop? I smile. Absolutely. I give the lightest signal with my leg, and Duquesa surges forward. For a moment, the world becomes wind. The trees blur on either side. The air presses tears into my eyes. I feel the full power of the animal beneath me, the strength that had been quiet until now, the stored joy of movement released all at once. At first, I hold her back slightly, just enough to meet her speed without losing myself to it. Then I let my body follow. Her stride is powerful, but still smooth. Each leap forward feels like being lifted and returned, lifted and returned, not thrown, but carried. I can feel that she's energetic. I can feel that she's free. And still, somehow, she's with me. When we slow again, the air seems larger. My heart is beating faster, but not anxiously. It beats with the bright afterglow of having trusted something strong. The dogs have turned back by now, just as Manolo said they would. A few moments later, the forest suddenly opens up. I can hardly believe my eyes. Before us lies an oval clearing, and beyond it the slope drops steeply away. The plateau stretches out before us, layers upon layers of forested hills resting gently against one another. The view reaches all the way to the horizon, where the sun is beginning to hint at evening. It feels as though nature has built a viewing platform into the forest. I'm in awe, feeling admiration for its beauty. Deeply moved, I dismount slowly. For a long while, neither of us says anything. There's nothing to add. No road is visible from here. No plane crosses the sky. No machine cuts the silence. Only a few birds call from somewhere within the trees, hidden but present, their voices small against the enormous silence. The horses lower their heads and graze. Manolo and I unpack the provisions from the saddlebags and sit in the grass for a long picnic. Bread, fruit, tortillas, a little cheese. Things that taste better outside after hours of riding when the body has earned its hunger. On the way back, the light has begun to change. We ride in the golden hour, almost along the same path, but nothing feels the same. The forest has become softer, deeper. Shadows stretch between the trunks. Birds that were silent before now begin to call, while others disappear into evening. Insects flicker in the low sun like tiny moving sparks. There's no wind, only the sound of hooves, the breathing of horses, and the hush of the day beginning to fold itself closed. By the time we reach the ranch, the sky has taken on the gentle colors that come just before night. We unsaddle the horses and brush the sweat from their coats. Duquesa stands quietly as I work, her breath warm in the cooling air. When I turn to leave, I hear a soft snort behind me. I stop. I wait. moment later, I feel her close. I turn carefully, slowly, and she rests her heavy head against my shoulder. For a while, we stand like that in the last light. Her weight is gentle but real. Her breath moves against me. I do not know what it means in any exact way. I only know that it feels like a blessing. A wordless good night from a creature who carried me through the day and now allows me this final, quiet closeness. Something inside me becomes very still. Dinner is by the campfire. The flames move softly in the dark, and we eat with the relaxed hunger that follows a day outdoors. Later, even after we are full, we place potatoes into the embers because it feels right to let the evening continue a little longer. The moon rises full and bright. Around us, the pastures turn silver. The horses graze in the moonlight, pale shapes moving slowly through the grass. They look almost unreal, as if they belong not only to the ranch, but to some older story about night and land and returning home. Natalia brings out a guitar. Her voice is clear and velvety, gentle enough for the hour. She sings folk songs that seem to carry a little sadness inside their beauty. Manolo joins her sometimes, not loud, just a low hum beneath her melody. The fire crackles. Sparks rise and vanish. The air smells of smoke, grass, and cooling earth. I lie back in a hammock near the fire. Its woven fabric supports me perfectly, lifting me just enough from the ground. The hammock sways with the smallest movement, slow and easy, as if it remembers the rhythm of Duquesa's walk. Back and forth, back and forth. The whole day seems to continue in that motion. Manolo quietly places 2 blankets beside me. "You can sleep here if you like," he says. "It will stay warm and dry tonight." I thank him, though my voice already feels far away. I pull one blanket over my legs and then the other over my chest. They are soft and pleasantly heavy. My body receives the weight with gratitude. My arms relax first, then my shoulders, then my legs, which still hold the memory of the ride, the steady pressure of the saddle, and the rise and fall of the horse beneath me. The fire keeps glowing beside us. Natalia's song becomes softer. The moonlight rests across the pasture. I let the day return to me in little pieces. The horses grazing in the sun in the early morning. The smell of coffee and warm bread. Duquesa's breath against my hands. The forest scent of resin and moss. The sudden gallop, the wind, the tears in my eyes. The clearing above the hills. the ride home through golden light, the soft weight of her head on my shoulder. Each memory rises, glows for a moment, and then drifts away. I do not hold on to any of it. The hammock sways gently. The blankets grow warmer around me. I breathe in the clean, cool night air and breathe out slowly. Again, a little slower. Again, more evenly. The muscles in my face soften. My hands loosen. My thoughts become lighter, less like thoughts and more like leaves moving on water. The fire speaks in low crackles. Somewhere in the pasture, a horse exhales. Natalia's voice becomes distant as I think they make their way towards the house. And here, under the full moon in the highlands of Chiapas, with the ranch resting around me, and the whole day loosening its hold, I let myself go. The road is behind me now, the forest quiet. Duquesa is somewhere out in the silver pasture, grazing beneath the moon, her breath rising into the night air. I no longer need to follow the trail. I no longer need to hold the reins. The hammock sways once, then again, as gently as a horse walking home. And little by little, the moonlight, the movement, the warmth of the blankets, and the last red glow of the fire carry me away, back into the hills, back into the hush of the pasture, back into the soft, steady rhythm of sleep.